Hello, and welcome to Selfware 5.0. Today we have a warm, uplifting story about Steve Jobs, told in simple English so everyone can understand. This inspiring story is like a motivational speech and an English learning podcast all in one. In this emotional yet empowering journey, we will see how Steve Jobs overcame challenges, and we will learn lessons in self-improvement and personal development. You might have heard bits of Steve's life in English stories or YouTube shorts before, but here we will share the full story. Whether you are here for inspiration to improve your English or just to listen to a calm motivational video, you are in the right place. Throughout the video, think of this as an inspirational English story to learn from. Each part of Steve's life shows how to turn setbacks into success. We will also include some simple science about mindset and discipline. For example, neuroscience tells us that your brain changes physically whenever you learn anything, and your brain continues to be molded by experience and learning throughout your life. So, listening to an English story can actually train your brain. We'll also see that students who believe they can grow become stronger and more resilient. Even studies show that self-control and discipline matter. Children with higher self-discipline at age 3 grew up to have better health and finances. The good news is self-control can improve with practice. In Steve's journey, these ideas play out in real life. Let's begin our story. Steve Jobs was born in 1955 and adopted by a loving family. His parents were not college graduates, but they promised to give him the chance to go to college. Steve did go to college, but only for 6 months. He felt very uncertain. "I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life," he said, "and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out." It was costly and confusing, so he decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was a scary choice, but he later said it was one of the best decisions I ever made. After dropping out of college, Steve didn't stop learning. He continued to take classes that interested him. One example is a calligraphy class he took at Reed College just because he was curious. This class wasn't required and didn't seem useful for someone who worked with computers, but Steve loved it. He learned about different fonts and spacing and thought it was beautiful, historical, and artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture. Later, when designing the first Macintosh computer, those lessons helped him make the Mac the first computer with beautiful fonts. Steve believed that if he had never dropped out, personal computers might not have the wonderful fonts they have today. These small decisions ended up being connected in a surprising way. Steve said, "Looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made." He also said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back, so you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future." These experiences teach us important lessons. Follow your curiosity. Sometimes things that seem unrelated to your goals can end up being helpful later. For example, Steve's interest in calligraphy helped him design better fonts for computers. Trust your journey. It can be hard to know where your choices will take you. Steve Jobs believed you need to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. Be resourceful. Even when times were tough, Steve found ways to keep going. He slept on friends' floors, collected Coke bottles for food money, and walked miles for a free meal. But he never stopped learning. Practical advice reflection. Think about your own life. Can you remember moments that seemed random at the time but later helped you? Make a small list of things you love to do, like hobbies or subjects. Even if they don't seem important now, think about how they might help you in the future. Action. Step. This week, try learning something new just because you're curious. It could be a short online course, a language app, or reading a blog in English. Studies show that learning changes your brain, and this makes it easier to learn more in the future. Steve's story in this stage shows that being a dropout was not the end for him, but the beginning of following his passion. Even as beginners, we can apply this. Stay curious, trust yourself, and remember that learning, whether through formal school or self-study, always builds your brain and opportunities. After college, Steve Jobs co-founded Apple with his friend Steve Wozniak in his parents' garage when he was just 20 years old. They worked hard and grew Apple into a $2 billion company in only 10 years. They created the Macintosh computer, which amazed the world. But at the age of 30, something painful happened. Steve was fired from Apple, the company he had started. Steve described this time as heartbreaking. He felt like he had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down and even thought about leaving Silicon Valley. He felt like a very public failure and was ashamed. It seemed like everything he had worked for was over. However, after the initial pain, Steve realized something important. He still loved what he did. His passion for technology and design didn't go away, even though he lost his job. He decided to start over with courage. Later, he said that being fired was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Why? Because it took the pressure of success off him, and he felt like a beginner again. This allowed him to be creative and take risks without worrying about his status. Steve said, "I was a very public failure, but something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did." He also said, "Sometimes life's gonna hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith." And he added, "You've got to find what you love, and the only way to do great work is to love what you do." Lessons and actions from this stage. Love your work. Steve's passion helped him keep going. He taught us that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Find something you enjoy in your work or studies. For example, if you're learning English, pick a topic you love, like music, sports, or movies, to make it more enjoyable. Embrace failures. Being fired felt like the worst thing, but it opened up new opportunities. One study by Carol Dweck about growth mindset shows that people who view challenges as opportunities tend to try harder and succeed. You can do the same. See setbacks as chances to learn and grow. Reflection. Have you ever faced failure or rejection? Can you think of at least one opportunity or lesson that came from it? For Steve, being fired led him to start Pixar and Next, which eventually helped Apple become successful again. Practical tips. When you face a problem, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Remind yourself of your passion. Write something like, "I still love what I do," just like Steve did. Reflections. Question. Think about a time you felt like Steve did when he was fired. What helped you move on? How can you use that strength now? This part of Steve's story teaches us a lot about resilience. It shows that even big failures can lead to success. As Steve said, "When life hits you hard, don't lose faith." Science shows that people who train themselves to improve self-control, like sticking with tough tasks, do better in life. You can develop this skill too by practicing good habits or using apps and podcasts to improve your focus and strength. After leaving Apple, Steve Jobs started two new companies, Next and Pixar. Next was a computer company, and Pixar was a movie studio. These were risky and difficult decisions, like starting from scratch after a fall, but Steve tackled them with excitement. Pixar became a huge success. It made Toy Story the first ever full-length computer animated film, changing animation forever. Steve's friend and Pixar's CEO Edwin Catmull said Steve brought energy and design skills that helped Pixar grow into the most successful animation studio in the world. Steve also found joy in life, falling in love and starting a family, showing that life could be rewarding even after a setback. Meanwhile, Next created powerful software. Although Next's hardware wasn't successful, its software was brilliant. In a surprising twist, Apple bought Next in 1997, bringing Steve back into the company. All the things Steve had learned at Next about design, user interface, and technology became the core of Apple's comeback. Steve said, "It turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life." He also reminded us, "You've got to find what you love. The only way to do great work is to love what you do." Lessons from this stage. Restarting with passion. Even after leaving Apple, Steve started over and loved what he did. This reflects a growth mindset where failure is seen as an opportunity to learn. When one plan fails, find another path that excites you. Keep learning. Steve used his time at Next and Pixar to educate himself. He learned about technology, storytelling, and business. Science shows that learning changes your brain. Every new skill you pick up makes your mind stronger. For example, learning English can help rewire your brain to make learning easier in the future. Stay creative. Steve remained creative even after failure. You can practice creativity too in small ways. Try describing something you enjoy in English or draw a simple picture while saying a new English word. These activities keep your mind flexible. Reflection and advice. Have you tried something new after facing a setback? Write down what happened. This will remind you that challenges can lead to new growth. Question to think about. What is one skill or hobby you love but haven't fully explored? Steve enjoyed the lightness of being a beginner again. Think of something you've always wanted to learn, like a sport, instrument, or skill, and see if you can start as a beginner and enjoy the process. Think about a time you were in a tough situation, like Steve being fired, but still felt excited. These moments show what truly motivates you. By the end of this part of the story, Steve's journey shows true resilience. Even when life hits you with a brick, you can bounce back and do something even greater. In 1997, Apple acquired Next, and Steve Jobs returned as CEO. This marked a major turning point for the company. With his fresh vision and passion, Apple quickly transformed. As Apple's timeline says, with Jobs back at the helm, Apple underwent a dramatic transformation, introducing groundbreaking products like the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad. These products changed entire industries. The iMac, 1998, brought color and style to computers, making them more user-friendly for everyone. The iPod, 2001, changed the way people listen to music by allowing them to carry thousands of songs in their pockets. The iPhone, 2007, revolutionized phones by combining a phone, internet device, and music player in one. The iPad changed how people use media and read, opening new ways to interact with technology. Steve's return to Apple showed that fresh ideas can bring life to a struggling company. It also proved that it's never too late to make a comeback. As Steve said, your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. Under his leadership, Apple's products became a symbol of greatness for many. Steve also once said, "It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it." When reflecting on his firing from Apple, others have said that he helped to transform 7 industries. He belongs in the pantheon of America's great innovators. Lessons and advice from this stage. Innovation requires courage. Steve took big risks in design, and we can learn from his bravery. When learning something new, be open to trying different methods. For instance, if you usually study English by reading, try listening to an English podcast, or write a short story in English. Pushing yourself into new areas can lead to new skills. Use your experiences. Everything Steve did before, even his failures, helped him succeed at Apple. Similarly, your past challenges can guide your future. If you struggled with a subject like math, you may now find it easier to solve problems in coding. Or maybe failing a test helped you improve your study habits for the future. Long-term vision. Steve didn't just fix a single problem, he looked ahead. Think about where you want to be in 5 or 10 years. What steps can you take now, like Steve did with new product releases, to move toward your goal? Reflection and advice. Personal development. Follow Steve's example by continuing to improve. You can set small goals each day, like learning 5 new English words, speaking English with a friend, or writing a line in a journal. These small efforts add up over time. Studies on grit show that consistency leads to mastery. Question: if you had a second chance like Steve, what would you want to do differently? What will you do with the opportunities you have now? Steve also grew in his leadership style. As he got older, he learned to be more patient and collaborative. You can grow too by setting daily habits to improve your self-discipline. Try waking up earlier or blocking distracting apps when you study. Research shows that even small improvements in self-control can lead to bigger benefits in your health and happiness. Finally, remember the bigger picture. Steve didn't just impact one field. He transformed many, including personal computing, movies, music, phones, and more. This shows the power of creativity combined with persistence. While you may not change entire industries, making a difference in your community or helping a friend can still be a step toward personal growth. Steve Jobs' story is filled with valuable lessons for everyone. Here are some key takeaways turned into practical advice and reflection prompts. Follow your heart and passion, Steve often said. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Every morning, Steve asked himself if he loved what he was doing. He encourages us to do the same. Don't settle, Steve advised. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. If you feel unsettled or unhappy, it's a sign to keep searching for what excites you. Value your time, Steve reminded us. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Spend each day doing things that matter to you. This is important for mental health too. Doing meaningful things can reduce stress and anxiety. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Steve's final advice was inspired by the Whole Earth Catalog's message, stay hungry. stay foolish. In other words, always stay curious, keep learning, and don't be afraid to try crazy ideas. This mindset helps keep your spirit young and open. Embrace learning and growth. Every time you learn something new, your brain physically grows its connections. Treat life like a classroom and see every challenge as a lesson that makes you smarter and stronger. Reflection. Questions. What do you truly love doing? Are you giving it enough time in your life? Think of a time when you succeeded. What steps did you take to get there? How can you apply that discipline and passion now? When you face a setback, can you find a lesson or opportunity in it? Like Steve did after being fired. How can you incorporate a growth mindset into your daily routine? For example, try saying, "I can learn this whenever something feels hard." This approach is linked to higher achievement. Practical advice. Set goals and review them. Ask yourself, like Steve did, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? If the answer is no, think about what you could change. Be disciplined. Start small. Resist one small temptation today, like checking social media, and use that time for something productive, like reviewing an English word list. Each win helps build your self-control. Use storytelling to learn, to improve your English and motivation. Listen to podcasts or watch inspiring videos. This blends language learning with motivation. Many people learning English listen to stories or podcasts, like an English podcast to practice listening. It's a calm, effective way to learn, almost like a sleep story that helps you wind down while learning something valuable. Remember, Steve's journey was full of ups and downs, but he kept going. You can too. Whether you are starting your day with purpose or listening to a calming motivational story at night, keep these lessons in mind. As an English learner, say to yourself, "I can learn from this story, and my brain will grow stronger with each new word." Key takeaways, life lessons. Passion is key. Love what you do. It will carry you through tough times. Growth mindset. Believe you can improve with effort. See challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. Resilience. Don't fear failure. Even if life hits you with a brick, keep faith and get back up. Trust yourself. Follow your intuition and heart, not just what others say. Innovate and learn. Always seek new ideas and knowledge. Your brain will thank you. Questions and actions. What is one passion you want to pursue this week? Next time something is hard, remind yourself, "I can get better at this." Growth mindset, and keep going. Write down a quick list, 3 things I learned from today, to practice appreciating small lessons. Each morning or evening, spend 5 minutes learning a new English word or phrase. Your brain changes with every bit of learning. Read or listen to more English motivational stories and language learning podcasts. This will improve your listening skills and maybe even your American accent while you feel inspired. Steve Jobs' life is a powerful motivational speech for success in life on its own. His journey from a young college dropout to a fired CEO, then a Pixar pioneer, and finally a visionary leader at Apple, shows us that every struggle can lead to success if we stay determined and passionate. His story is an inspirational English story that offers lessons for your personal development, your self-improvement, and even your language learning journey. Thank you for listening to this emotional and empowering story. We hope it helped you feel calm, motivated, and ready to take on your own challenges. If you found inspiration in Steve's journey, please like and subscribe to Selfware 5.0 for more motivational videos, English podcast stories, and study motivation content. Every week, we share stories that can improve your English and your mindset, helping you wake up ready to learn, calm your mind before sleep, or boost your English listening time. If you are learning English, keep going. Listening to these English learning stories is a great way to practice. You can pause and repeat phrases, shadow the American accent, and enjoy the story as a calm, motivational podcast. Remember, you can speak English. Keep at it, just like Steve kept at his goals. We are grateful you joined us at Selfware 5.0. Now go out and make your own story. Follow what you love, be resilient like Steve, and keep growing every day. Stay hungry for knowledge, stay foolish in creativity, and keep learning. See you next time on Selfware 5.0, where learning and inspiration meet. Keep dreaming big, stay curious, and never give up. You've got this.